Call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners on September 19th at 5:15. Joanne? Commissioner Ernst?
Here.
Commissioner Engel?
Here.
Commissioner Rollins?
Here.
Commissioner Vogelsong? Here. Commissioner Wright? Here. Any changes to the agenda? Nope. And we are going to open it up for public requests. Now, please keep in mind, public requests are for the agenda items that are on the agenda this evening. So, we'll open the floor to public requests.
My name is Harold Chaffee, 61 Northwest Second Avenue. I came tonight because I was curious. Rhonda said that it has to be in the agenda, which maybe it can. And your deliberation of the day at the end, maybe just talk about the visit that you did with Merrill Lynch, just bring us up to little speed, what's going on, whether there's the next meeting coming up. With Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lake, I'm sorry. You know, so I was, some of the car race.
I believe that the present, sorry, is October 3rd.
October 3rd.
That's right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And then where it's gonna be?
We're gonna book the Willow Theater for that. They just finished meeting with, because they had to meet with all of them. They just finished those meetings last week, so they're incorporating the feedback there. Also the City Parks and Rec Board had some feedback. So then they'll put that all together for October 3rd, Willow Theater, 5:15. And that'll be one of the future agenda items.
All right, thank you very much.
Since Harold got to speak briefly on that, may I? Okay. Hello, my name is Wayne Whitfield. I'm a resident at 5620 Northwest 3rd Terrace here in Boca Chica. Just wanted to spend just 2 minutes on the subject of the Ocean Breeze property, but I'd like to preface it with in regards to our Race to Zero and our sustainability action plan. I just wanted to emphasize the opportunity that we do have with Ocean Breeze in light of this Race to Zero, as far as tree canopy, water conservation, wildlife habitat, energy efficiency. And I just really wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page with this in mind, with Miller Lake as well, knowing that green space is really what we want this to be the foundation of, whether that's in the form of a golf course or a passive park, where we might see nature, a multi-use trail throughout so that it can be utilized by everybody in the city to be able to enjoy this area, but in phases. I'd love to see it phase 1, natural, as little concrete as possible. When we have 18 new pickleball courts going over in Patch Reef, is there a need to squeeze more concrete in this property? The Aquatic Center, is there another location that this can be as a designated place for just an aquatic center, as opposed to trying to conglomerate everything into this one place? Maybe down the road, phase 2, we might see a need for that, but we could save millions starting out with just this phase 1. I'd love to see designated discreetly hidden irrigation ponds with floating solar perhaps to offset the irrigation pumps to maintain the property and the usable space and nice ground.
I hope you're going to attend our next meeting and this, where we have it on the agenda.
Perfect. I wanted to plant the seed and I think my 5 minutes is up. So, okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me speak.
Anybody else here that's in person?
Oh, just a quick question. Hi, Jackie Pearson, 6250 Northwest 4th Avenue. I just wanted to find out if you got my email regarding the safety measurements for the lake. I had to get out of town and I went out of town for a while, so I didn't know. Did you get my email? Could you speak up?
You're on, you just have to speak a little louder.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know if you guys had a chance to see the email that I sent you regarding the safety measurements around the lake with the alligators and you know, how steep that, border is. Did you get it? Okay. I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? Nope, okay, we'll go online, do we have it?
We do have one request, Raul Treviso, would you go ahead and unmute yourself and state your name and address, please? Raul, would you go ahead and unmute yourself and state your name and address, please?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Raul Travieso. I live at 1037 West Royal Palm Road. I'm the president of the Boca Raton Pickleball Club, and I'm also the Florida Southeast District Ambassador for the USA Pickleball Association. I noticed that in today's agenda, the commission will be discussing shade covering at pickleball courts at Patrick Park. And I wish to make a couple of comments. To begin with, summers in South Florida are increasingly getting hotter. When I moved here in my junior year in 1969, we didn't have 100-degree weather. We do now. And we want to protect our children that are now playing more and more the sport. They've embraced pickleball as well as the older folks like myself. And so it's important that we protect our children from the harming rays of the sun. The national trend is to cover pickleball courts for sun protection. There are covered courts in Orlando, in Alabama. More and more are being covered as we speak. We're excited to play on the 18 proposed courts that have been approved at Patch Reef, and we would be actually elated if some of them were covered. Of course, it goes without saying that if all were covered, that certainly would be a wonderful thing. Patch Reef would be the flagship pickleball complex in Florida, if that were the case. There are three reasons why we should cover all the courts. First of all, the shade covered courts allow for us to play much longer time, especially in midday when in the heat of the day, in the midday when it's the hottest. Secondly, as I mentioned, even when it's light drizzle, you could actually still play, and we wouldn't have to stop play when the weather just sprinkled. And then thirdly, it would actually increase revenue to the tax district as the courts are able to be used a much more time during a much longer time of the day. So, we totally support 8 courts covered, 6, all of them covered, but we are in, we'd like to see some covered, and that would be a great thing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raul. Anybody else online?
No, there's no other public online comments.
Okay, we will close public requests and do approval of the minutes of the previous board meeting held on September 6th at 5:15.
Move to approve.
Second.
Joanne?
Commissioner Ernst,
Yes.
Commissioner Engel,
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsong,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay, and then approval of the minutes of the first public trim compliance hearing on proposed 2022-2023 tax and budget held on September 6th at 6.
Move to approve.
Second.
Joanne? Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Ringo?
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsong?
Yes.
Commissioner Rea? Yes. Motion. Okay, first item of regular business, Sugar Sand Park Community Center column designs. Brianna?
Commissioners, on page 8 of your agenda packet starts the work order that was prepared by WZA, one of our architect engineering firms that we have under a continuing services agreement to evaluate the pillars that are all around Sugar Sand Park Community Center. They've all started to get rust at the bottom, so they basically evaluate them and design repair work for every single post around that community center area. And originally, the city was going to run this project. It would be us running the project, but Zach Beard, who's the municipal services director, has looked at this. He feels confident that this would address the issues that are out there that were identified by our city staff. So looking tonight for approval, $43,330, so that WZA can start the design work, and then we would come back with a proposal for the actual cost of repairs.
I move to approve the sum of 43,300 and, let me turn the page, $30 for the purpose of compensating Walter Zachria for looking at the replacement of columns at Sugar Sand Park.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Joanne? Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Ringo?
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsong?
Yes.
Commissioner Rea? Yes. Motion passes. Okay, number 2 in regular business is the Ocean Strand Park entrance signs.
Commissioners, in your agenda packet, starting on page 12, are 3 quotes from sign companies for the signage at Ocean Strand Park, which would be the entrance sign, and then the signs interior that have the commissioner names on them. These signs replicate all of our parks aesthetically. It would be the same along A1A. They would go before the community appearance board for final approval of these signs, but they fit in and blend with all of our parks. So tonight, looking for approval for the fast signs quote in the amount of $15,207.
So move.
Second.
Joanne? Commissioner Ernst?
Yes.
Commissioner Ringo?
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsong?
Yes.
Commissioner Rea? Yes. Motion passes. All right. And number 3 on the regular business, proposal for the shade coverage of the pickleball courts at Patrick Park.
Commissioners, as you heard in the public comments from Mr. Travieso, there's 2 quotes in here for different coverage of the pickleball courts. One would be to cover the design work for covering 8 of those courts. The other is design work to cover all 18 courts based upon what players want and the feedback from the community. I would recommend tonight that we approve the design to cover all the courts. And obviously, if we decided, at the end when they do a proposal of how much it would cost, we don't want to do all, we could change that. But to have it designed that way at this point seems to be the best bet. It's 70. I can read my handwriting here. 75,648.
Yes.
Roll brought something up, about storms. What about hurricane? What happens during a hurricane? Are they brought down? Are they?
This would be more, it probably wouldn't be brought down for hurricane unless it was like a Cat 5, we could look at that, but this isn't, these would be more, I'm trying to find the word here.
Permanent.
Permanent, thank you, yes, thank you. Yes, not like the sails and stuff like that, it's more of a permanent structure.
Okay, thank you.
The question I had, I think someone raised it before, is the ventilation. We get some real still mornings there. Are there any type of fans that,
Yes, it includes the fans and lighting work.
all right, thank you.
Just an observation is that this past weekend I had the opportunity to go to Collier County Lewis Park, which is right at the end of Alligator Alley. And the shade structures, I did take a picture of them, and it's a brand new park. It's not the low intense use that we're looking for, that would be at Ocean Breeze, but they basically leveled it and started building everything new. And what was amazing to me was shade structures themselves were very well anchored with stainless steel bolt straps. You just can't undo them for a hurricane coming, but they look like they're going to stay. They're in smaller sections, smaller pieces. So I think if designed correctly, we definitely would want to pursue kind of a shade structure that could cover all the courts for pickleball and make it the premier court. And it's not going to be cheap, so be prepared, and shade structures is something that I think we're just going to have to get used to and add them everywhere we can, for the community.
I think in doing this, maybe we should set up some kind of standard as to what kind of wind tolerance these structures would have. Hurricane proof windows have a tolerance of winds up to 150 miles an hour. I think that would be a minimum standard for these shade structures.
They will be built with impact rating. So, I mean, obviously, if there's a catastrophic hurricane, anything can come down in that, but this would be built to withstand that shock.
I think it has to meet the Florida Building Code standards, right?
We have to,
Right.
correct.
It would be insured,
I was gonna say, that'll change the insurance.
hopefully insured as well.
Does anybody want to?
I move to approve.
Now, second,
For the 18,
the motion was for the 18, wasn't Steve?
Yes.
okay, go ahead. Commissioner Ernst,
Yes.
Commissioner Rizzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright. Yes.
Motion.
Okay, approval of payroll and invoices, guys.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval of payroll invoices in the amount of $574,968.28.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Ernst,
Yes.
Commissioner Rizzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogelsang,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright. Yes. Motion passes. Okay, reports and discussion items.
Commissioners, just a few updates. Commissioner Rollins and I met with Mike Morrell from FMIT. So we will be renewing our policy, which rolls over on October 1st. And we're going to look at any of our cyber coverages. We may come back to increase those later on, but at this point, we'll just renew the policy as is. Chairman Wright and I met with the Parks and Recreation Board last week to get their thoughts on the Boca Chica project. So that was a really positive meeting, and I think everybody's looking forward to the progress of that project and how it will go. And we also will be meeting with the Sustainability Board on September 30th to get their thoughts as well. So we'll have that insight from that board as well. And then future agenda items will be, we have an exploring exhibit to take a look at in Leonardo's lab, just pending legal review on that. So I'll touch base with Sam and Jake, and then obviously the presentation from Little Leg regarding the Ocean Beach property. So the next meeting is scheduled at the Willow Theater in Sugar Sand Park. October 3rd.
All right, legal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing to report except to tell you that I commend the professional staff for the preparation of the budget in the context of the legal ad, which I have legally reviewed as of today. Should there be a question raised by a member of the public, it was properly advertised in accordance with the statute, chapter 200. It was appropriately published, and when we get to the special set, which is at 6 o'clock, which is a time certain as required by the statute, the legal ad that got you here with the proper legal vehicle to conduct the public hearing for both millage and budget. How you vote, of course, is your own business publicly as you handle it, but the legal premise to get here was properly conducted. And I thank staff and I thank our outside folks for their help to get us here. Thank you.
Thank you. And commissioners,
I've been getting some inquiries from, the first tee of, Gold Coast First Tee about using, Red Reef Park Golf Course for their program in South County. And they have not heard back from Greg, so is there a way that we can communicate and find out if there's any interest in, with the city in having that program?
I'll follow up with them. I'm sorry, I missed the first, that was for the golf thing. We were looking at something online here. Is that for the golf program?
It's for
Yes.
First Tee, yeah.
Yes, I heard from Carl too. I'll follow up with Greg and see if they've been able to get a hold of him. He sent it to them.
And I have one. Where are we with the school board?
Oh. It's still with me revising their, agreement, working through all that.
Thank you.
I have nothing to report, except I agree with Craig that I've been at that sports complex over in Naples and it's impressive. And I wish we had some of that shade and rain cover Sunday over at the Countess to Harmony Park. That's all I'm Jerry.
Well, I estimate that I have about 20 minutes. So I just want to know, I'm not going to filibuster or anything. No, so that's it. I got nothing to share. Thank you.
Madam Chair, nothing at this time.
Okay, and I think I'm actually going to that facility for our tournament this weekend. So, yay, and I brought my own rain cover with me on Sunday. But we got the game in, so that's what matters, right?
I had my wife with a T-Boca poncho, and I told her it wasn't gonna rain, so I left my raincoat in the car. And along with the umbrella,
Yeah.
and so I regretted that decision.
You didn't take her poncho, did you?
I had a poncho in the car, but which my wife finished the soccer game sitting on the sideline the last 10 minutes of torrential rain.
Yeah.
And
True fan.
pardon?
She's a true fan.
She had a poncho.
Okay, good.
I just heard from Greg Stevens about the golf, First Tee. They're setting up a meeting, when he's back in the office next week. So they'll be setting up a meeting.
All right, so any future, you already said your future agenda items, does anybody have anything else? Want to add? All right, so we will adjourn this meeting. Oh, sorry, we need a motion.
My chocolate. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Joey. Commissioner Ernst.
Yes.
Commissioner Engel.
Yes.
Commissioner Rollins.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright. Yeah. motion passed. Okay. Yeah.
So we can reconvene at 6.